Hey guys, this is week 24, day 3. The story of Jonah, also known as a well of a tale. A tale of a well. So, now we all know about Jonah. Right? Yeah, at the time Jonah was a prophet. And he went around telling people what God had told him. And one day, Jonah hears from God. And God says, Jonah, I want you to go to Nineveh, that wicked city, and preach against it. Tell them if they don't change from their ways, I will destroy them. And Jonah, he's like, yes, God's going to destroy Nineveh, my enemy. I don't like Nineveh. They've been our enemy for a long time. God's going to destroy them, yeah. Wait a minute. You said if. God, I don't want to go. Because if I go, then they're going to change, and then you're going to forgive them, and then you won't destroy them, and they'll keep on pestering us. Oh, Jonah's like, God's like, Jonah, just go. Jonah's like, all right. And he runs down to the ship. Goes down to the dock, says, all right. Finds the ship, says, hey, do you know where Nineveh is? They're like, yeah, it's over that way. Yeah, good. You go in the opposite direction? He's like, yep. Yep, I'm going with you. And he jumped on the ship. And he sailed away from Nineveh. And he's a sailing and traveling. And while they're going out there, big old storm came up while they're out at sea. And Jonah, for some reason he thought he could hide from God. He was in the bottom of the boat asleep. Hey! And Jonah goes. And they go wake up Jonah. Jonah, wake up! There's a horrible storm out here. It's got to be the wrath of God. Now they didn't know whose God it was. So they're like, everyone pray to your God. Everyone had different gods. Every country had a different God. Some of them had more than one. Most of them had more than one. Israel was the only one that had one God. All the other countries worship multiple gods. They were confused. So, that's another story. Now, so Jonah goes, I serve the one true living God. And he told me to go east and I'm going west. Or something, I don't know the directions. I'm going the opposite way. I am running away from God. The God of the universe, who knows all, sees all, is everywhere. I'm running away from him. And they're like, the people are like, you're stupid. You can't hide from a God that knows everything and is everywhere. Where are you going to go that God's not? Well, I don't know if they actually said that. They probably thought that, though. And Jonah's like, I know what to do. Save yourselves. I'm running from God. I'm going to die anyhow. Throw me overboard and the storm will end. They're like, what? If we throw you overboard in the storm, you'll die. Jonah's like, and? We ain't going to kill you. If he does this to you because you're hiding from God, you're running from him, what's he going to do if we kill one of his prophets? And they start throwing stuff overboard. They lighten all the cargo. And the storm just keeps getting worse, and they're tossing. And it's just getting bad. Finally, they're like, all right, we don't have a choice. We're all going to die. Tell your God to forgive us. And they threw him overboard. He hits the water, and the storm stops. And Jonah's going under. And he's like, well, I'm going to drown. That's what he's thinking as he's going under. And this big old well. Well, Jonah calls it great fish. Jesus called it a well. Well, I'm thinking Jesus knows more than Jonah. So this well came and swallowed Jonah. And Jonah ended up sitting in the belly of a well. And because wells are unique in that they can actually have air inside of them, He could sit there and try to stay out of the stomach acid, which would be really gross. And Jonah stayed in there for 3 days. And apparently it took him 3 days to repent. You'd think most people would probably repent at this within an hour. But Jonah was a little stubborn. It took him 3 days. And finally he's like, you know what, God? I'm sorry. I'll change. I'll go. Just give me another chance. And then that well started getting sick. And Jonah started noticing bubbles start bubbling up and popping and getting a really raunchy smell. And Jonah's like, oh, this ain't good. This ain't good. And the well just vomited Jonah up on the coast. And Jonah probably tried to clean some of the well's stuff off. He goes and he grabs someone and says, hey, just came ashore. Where am I? And they tell him, like, do you know how to get to Nineveh from here? He's like, yeah, go walk about 100 miles that way, north. And Jonah starts walking and walking. And he finally makes it to Nineveh. And he preaches to the guys in Nineveh. Jonah's in here preaching to everyone in Nineveh. And he even preaches to the king of Nineveh. He preaches all over. God's going to destroy you. This is the end. You better repent of your ways. And then Jonah's like, all right, I did what I was supposed to do. And Jonah went up on a mountain. It's going to be a show. Fire and brimstone's what he brought on Sodom and Gomorrah. Let's see what he brings here. And Jonah sits up there. And the people, though, in the town, they start thinking about it. And the king's like, you know what? We're going to repent. We will turn from our ways. And they all repented. And they prayed. And they fasted. Even their animals fasted. Yeah. They were serious. And they got right with God. And God chose to forgive them. Now Jonah, he's looking at it, it's like, all right, God, time's up. Time for him to get destroyed. While Jonah's sitting up there watching, this plant started growing really fast. And it grew up and it gave him shade. And Jonah's like, oh, thank you, I get to sit in the shade. Because heaven's probably getting a little hot. It is the desert. And Jonah sits in the shade and is relaxing. And Jonah's like, all right, God, you're not destroying them. Any time now. And then a worm came and ate the vine at the base and fell over. And Jonah gets mad. He's like, wait, I had this shade and the shade's destroyed. And God's like, dude, a whole city. And Jonah's also getting mad. And like, and God, why didn't you destroy this city? Sit out here all day waiting for it to be destroyed. And now I don't even have shade and the city's not destroyed. And God's like, Jonah, you're complaining about yourself instead of rejoicing that an entire city has turned to God. Yeah. And sometimes, let's see, what are we supposed to learn? One, we can't run away from God. I think we covered that. But sometimes we might have to be a little inconvenienced. We might have to sit out in the sun. But a city could be saved. And we shouldn't gripe about having to sit out in the sun. A little inconvenience so the people could have a chance to go to heaven someday. Right? So y'all think about that, and let's see what is our next story. Our next story from the storybook. Prisoners stand their ground. That's a good title for it. Leave that alone, dude. I don't want to twirl. So, let's come back tomorrow and find out what happens when prisoners stand their ground. Yeah. Bye.